And next up at UFC 326, we've got Cody Brundage stepping in on short notice, taking on Donte Johnson. Carlos, who you got in this one?
This was a tough one to pick for me, but I thought that I'm going to go with Donte Johnson. Um, he's hot right now. He's getting better every time he's in the cage. I know they say he has some wrestling to go with some of that big power that he has. The power, he doesn't know how to accurately throw it right on the button, but he does wing those hands, and if it lands, he's going to hurt you. The reason why I'm not too confident is because Brundage could do the same thing. He's got a heavy right hand, and he can out wrestle Johnson if it goes to the ground and keep the standing. Whether that benefits Brundage or not, whether he's confident in the conditioning he has to step in on short notice, I'm not too sure. So that's why I'm going to go with Johnson. But I do think they talk about Johnson's, his wrestling background. I'm not sure how credentialed it is. I'm not sure how technical he gets. I just know that he's athletic. If he's got a little bit of a base, he can explode out of certain positions. Might be difficult for Brundage to hold him down, or it might be difficult for him to keep Brundage down. But either way, when he gets back to the feet, he's alive too. And I think that Johnson's going to push the pace, whether he wants to or not. That's all he knows. And I think he can land something and put Cody Brundage on Queer Street. So I'm going to take Johnson in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to stick to the usual trend here for me on the Ground and Pound podcast, where anybody with a pulse I'm taking against Cody Brundage. But give me Johnson here. I think he's the better athlete. I think he's very explosive, and we've seen, obviously, that he does have some wrestling in the back pocket. Obviously, I'm with Carlos. I haven't necessarily seen the high-level wrestling that they've talked about with Johnson, but the guy is a good athlete, and he can definitely crack. My only real knock on him is that at 185, at 5'8", he is a little tank, but he is a little bit undersized. And I do agree with Carlos in the sense that Brundage does have some wrestling that he can fall back on and kind of just keep him in the fight with the wrestling. But ultimately, I don't necessarily trust the durability of Cody Brundage. We've seen him get finished from time and time again. I think Johnson is very live early. I do think that he comes out, hot, especially in round one, where a lot of his power is. And I do think out of the two that if this fight gets dragged into deep waters, that Brundage, he's not necessarily the best athlete. He can get guys tired. He can hang in there, but ultimately, I just don't think he's going to survive the first two rounds here with Johnson. I think on the feet, Brundage is definitely fundamentally sound enough to kind of stay safe. But I think Johnson is a guy that's going to press you. He's going to get in your face. He knows that he doesn't have the reach to be able to get at a lot of his opponents. So he knows that he has to get on the inside and have the good forward pressure. And to me, if Brundage is a guy that's kind of backing up and kind of being the one forced back in a fight, he's definitely going to get caught at some point. Johnson does a good job of ripping to the body as well. And to me, I look at this matchup and I say, this is a guy that they're throwing in to just give Johnson an opponent on a pay-per-view card. Brundage, to me, is not a guy that I'm ever going to look to back. If you're losing a split decision against Eric McCornaco, I don't trust you against hardly anybody, and that's not a knock on Eric McCornaco. I just don't think he's UFC level either. So give me Donte Johnson here to get this one done. Full camp as well. The better athlete, the better wrestler ultimately, and I think he finds the finish inside of 2 rounds.